So being situationally aware of all those environmental factors and human factors and terrain factors and keeping that in your mind without getting lost in it. Ideally, I think it should flow.
Over many years, well, decades, Larry Stanier and I have taught together on level 2 and 3 avalanche courses for the Canadian Avalanche Association. I wanted to tap his remarkable insight for this interview. Larry Stanier has worked in various segments of the avalanche patch since its start in 1981 as a blackcomb ski patroller. Since then, he's worked as a highways forecaster, instructor for the Canadian Avalanche Association and ACMG, as well as an IFMGA mountain guide and avalanche consultant for industry, ski areas, and Helicat Canada Association. His work has taken him all over Western Canada, as well as the Yukon, Baffin, Alaska, Greenland, Iceland, Svalbard, Antarctica, Patagonia, Georgia, Kyrgyzstan, Nepal, and numerous trips to the European and Japanese Alps. Okay, my bucket list of places to visit just got longer. Larry, can you outline a habit or approach that works for you?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about situational awareness. I thought I'd try and dig a little deeper into what we mean by situational awareness, try and break it into the component parts, because it's a great idea. We talk about it quite a bit, but of course the hard part is the practice. And I'll look at it mostly from an avalanche perspective, but also from a mountaineering perspective. So in the big picture, situational awareness to me means being aware of everything that's going on. So in a winter, that would mean what's been going on since the beginning of the winter, the summer snow cover on the glacier and all that sort of stuff, the early season layers, etc. So I'll just leave it at that, but having enough awareness of what's going on. And I guess that comes into my perspective if I'm traveling to somewhere outside of my usual operating area, whether I'm going to northern BC or going to Asia or anywhere else to the Alps. Now when it comes down to the day, I think it starts, in a lot of ways the day before, making a plan, being cognizant of what's going on, checking the latest bulletins, InfoX, whatever sources you have. And then in the field in the day, being aware not just of, being aware of everything that's going on, I guess. Your timings, the terrain, you have an expectation of what you're going to see for the snow on the terrain, the type of terrain you're going to be in, the previous relevant weather conditions, the current relevant bits of the weather forecast, and what's actually happening when you're out there. And then you've got all the human parts of it, the human factors of your group, the aspirations of the group. What's the nature of the trip? Is it a guided trip? Is it a fact-finding trip? Is it an avalanche control mission? Are you going to ski up a peak? All that sort of stuff. And so being situationally aware of all those environmental factors and human factors and terrain factors and keeping that in your mind without getting lost in it. Ideally, I think it should flow fairly easily. If you have a good idea what's going on, then you can be open to what's happening again with all the precipitation factors and the terrain factors. So yeah, as you're moving through the terrain, being cognizant of all those factors about the weather and the terrain and how they apply, so that you have an idea of what to expect, and then you can see if it lines up with that. You have a plan A, and plan A hopefully is going to work because you have some sort of parameters. What you expect would make plan A work. So then while you're traveling, you're looking at things that would maybe confirm your expectations or disconfirm your expectations. So that's where you might have to go to a plan B. Other things that might confirm or disconfirm that plan would be how the group's moving, right? Are you moving well, so the timing is good? Are you moving well, so you're not going to end up stopping in somewhere you don't want to? I think it's somewhere like going up to the Asalkan Pass. I'm going to go through the mousetrap. Maybe I feel that's reasonable, but I want to minimize the time. If I got someone who's having binding troubles or having foot troubles or stomach troubles or whatever, suddenly my plan might fall apart, right? Because I don't have that ability to move. So that's part of my situational awareness, looking at how my group is moving through the terrain. Then looking for disconfirming evidence too, something that's doesn't fit with my plan, so I might have to turn around and having a plan B. Yeah, so while you're traveling through the terrain, try and keep your eyes wide open for everything that's going on with the group and the terrain and the weather, etc. And then think about what factors might impede your ability to make good decisions, like things like the cold. Like, so if it's really cold, it might be harder for you to keep moving, harder. You might have more focus on other people who aren't dealing with the cold quite as well. If you had a cold yourself, I know myself, if I'm not feeling well, I just have to assume I'm not as smart and I'm not making good decisions, so I have to be aware of that. And the other thing that limits my decision making too is fog. I just feel like if the light is bad, I just have reduced quality of inputs. I can't see what's going on. Certainly if there's a rock coming or something, I can't see it. And I can't see the terrain, I can't evaluate the terrain as well. So just try and assess the quality of your situational awareness and your assessment of what's going on, and then try and make it so it's easy on yourself too. Try and reduce the background noise as much as possible and focus on what's important so you can make good decisions and get to your plan A or go to your plan B, or just turn around and go home and live to fight another day. Yeah, and I thought I'd throw in an anecdote. It's the summer mountaineering thing, but it came this summer, and it really was an example of one of these surprises, seeing something unexpected. So hot, dry summer in the Canadian Rockies, and I was going to climb a peak with some guests. And normally you would climb a snow couloir to get onto some easy rock climbing to get to a peak, Glacier Peak in Lake O'Hara. And I knew the couloir was completely out of shape, but I'd come down some ledges on pretty good quartzite rock before, so I thought maybe we could go up the quartzite rock. And the big concern there is rockfall hazard off of Ringerose Peak, which is to the right, and it's really poor quality quartzite rock there. And I thought we could stay far enough to the one side to avoid sort of normal rockfall, and everything was dry there, so I assumed it would just be just a possibility of rockfall. And I came up into that basin there, and the big walls I was concerned about were soaking wet, and everything else was bone dry, and I just really I was just outside of my experience. I hadn't factored something like that, and so to me it was a sign there was something going on that I didn't understand. Maybe there was some permafrost in the rock there that was melting, or there's some ice core in there, there's snow melting from somewhere else and running down the downsloping bedding planes there. But either way, it just was such a red flag to me. It was not within my trip plan at all that we just turned around and retreated. So I just thought that was an example of being something outside of my forecasted awareness.